I may have spoken too soon when I said that after Evil Dead Rise, that was pretty much it for me and horror for 2023. The trailer kicks off with an adult overseeing a young girl's therapy session to treat recent childhood trauma, so think of it as Megan without that shallow psychiatric lip service. I love how the therapist thinks that the single-source lighting in a darkened room, giving her glasses a creepy shadow on her face, is what will relieve this child of her fear. Yeah, that'll do the trick. And the alien from A Quiet Place shows up, the sister reassures her in a creepy voice,
"Kinda like this?"
And the little girl munches into her shoulder. Great. They went to counseling to rehab her nervous eating, and now they just deepened it. Serves big sister right. Bit of an odd choice for your nightlight to be a handheld snow globe, but regardless, someone gets a rude awakening. I like how they have the creature burst from the closet and scurry under the bed as, according to legend, those are the hiding places for the Boogeyman.
"I am the one hiding under your stairs, fingers like snakes and spiders in my hair.
I am the one hiding under your bed, teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red."
Look what happens when girl hair clogs the bathroom drain. It just gets everywhere. The acting across the board suitably conveys the near paralyzing fear that the characters are enduring. We even get paid a visit from that awkward-looking polka dot man from that horrible Suicide Squad sequel. Considering that he informs the father the type of threat they're dealing with, it's a safe bet to assume that the reason behind his familiarity with this menace is because he's been haunted since he was a kid. From the use of light and sound, this trailer did its job and sold me on this film. Light because how it shines only on the characters without illuminating their area to provide that ghostly contrast between individual and their surrounding shadows. And sound by the eerie lullaby of a melody reminiscent of When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Seriously, rewatch the trailer. It comes in at about 1 minute into the preview and kicks into overdrive at the 2-minute mark. I bet you can't get it out of your head now. It's surprising to me that this film isn't getting more buzz, especially considering the Stephen King name brand. But then again, considering how the tone appears to be played straight and that it doesn't have that Stephen King-ness to it, I can at least understand why it isn't being slotted in amongst the rest of his filmography. I'm not saying that every adaptation of his has a samey feel to it, but you gotta admit that between films like The Dark Tower, the Pet Sematary remake, and the Dr. Sleep sequel, there's something of an oddball quirk running through these movies that you can't take them seriously, and not just because of their unimpressive box office. During the 2000s, there were these string of almost good horror movies that dealt with childhood trauma manifested by apparitions. I'm talking the likes of They and Darkness Falls. Interestingly enough, they'd always reference night terrors. Kind of like how virtue-signaling women use buzzwords like mental health to appear humanitarian or something. This movie looks like it belongs in that category, yet elevates that subgenre. Speaking of, normally when you get one of these factory standard horror romps, you can just rattle off every checkbox the studio can think of, not to package you an experience, but to sell you a product. Here, though, they've seemingly hit all their marks that you'd expect in a Boogeyman story. From the aforementioned closet and under-the-bed hiding spots, to a child waking a grown-up regarding something in their room. From the broken adult all too familiar with the phantom, from exposure to it and trauma by it, to the creature's seeming aversion to light. It's all handled with much appreciated attention to detail. These are all the hallmarks you'd expect from a Boogeyman story. Who wants to place bets that they'll include a scene of someone accidentally pulling the bedsheets too high in their sleep, leaving their footsies exposed while this thing waits at the foot of the bed? Yeah, You know no matter how old you get, that still freaks you out and socks ain't gonna protect you. My hope for this movie is twofold. First, that they keep the mystique of the origins while building a lore. Now, they already released one TV spot called Origins Teaser, and it would make sense for the traumatized man who's dealt with a lifetime of distress to research what exactly was plaguing his life. What I'm referring to is over-explanation. I don't need to know this thing's life story like country of origin, height preference, or what its pronouns are. I personally am rooting for this because if you bother doing even cursory research into Boogeyman around the world, cinema has really been shortchanged from depictions of these creature features in favor of the redundant slashers as your movie monsters. Don't be misled by trash like La Llorona. Masked maniacs have had their day. It's time to let figments of the imagination shine in the shadows. I've been Inkarnate reminding you,
I'm the Boogeyman!
I ain't just a big deal,
And I'm coming to get you!
I'm the real deal.
There's no such thing as monsters. You need to grow up! I'm serious, Sawyer. I need to be alone!
Oh yeah!
If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.